Welcome to Money Matters with Greg, where we dive into the money conversations shaping your life. From investments to estate planning, insurance to taxes, we cover it all with a fresh perspective. Join Greg and his guests each week to get inspired and take control of your financial future. Let's get started. Securities and investment advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Money Matters. It's Greg Farrell, CEO and owner of Farrell Wealth. It's a wealth management firm here locally in Valparaiso, Indiana, and then also serving clients in 24 states nationwide. If you follow us on our podcast and our YouTube channel, you know much of this, but if you're new to us, we're happy to have you. Really excited to be able to talk today about the conflict and the war in Iran and how that's affected markets. I wanted to be able to get into that for everybody, because it has been a very volatile ride here, and wanted to make sure everybody we could talk about some things here to kind of give you some direction. That's what we do in this show. We talk about money. Again, Money Matters with Greg on WVLP 103.1 FM, where we are broadcast locally on Thursdays at 1 o'clock, and then as well on Saturdays as a replay on Saturdays as well. So podcasts are also anywhere you pod, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, you name it. We're there. And then also on our YouTube channel, at Farrell Wealth, you can find us there. You can email me anytime as well, Greg at Farrell Wealth. Would love to hear from you and have any ideas you have or any thoughts you have. I'd love to be able to listen and also add. Maybe we could add some value to the rest of the listeners with some of your questions and some of the topics that we can talk about. We talk about money on this show, how we can make more money, how we can add more money to your lives, how we can save more money. You name it. Have a number of different guests on this show that would come on that I'm always flattered to have, and very, very lucky to have conversations as a fly on the wall. I feel like a lot of people would love to be able to listen in, and that's what I try to bring to you on this show. We are into our 179th episode, which I can't believe, but it's been a long time going. This is our fifth year of doing this, and very excited to be able to add some value to you today and talk about some of the things that are going on in the markets. So we'll start with a little history. I've had a long professional career of investing. I also had a personal career of investing, starting out as really as a 6-year-old, where my mom started asking us to start putting money away into 3 buckets of money: savings, charity, and then investing. And so I've been buying stocks and been around stocks all my life, and the overall stock market and investments. Started from my professional career in 1994 in the pits of Chicago, the Chicago Board Option Exchange, and I've traded through a lot of things in a 14-year career that have been crazy. Quite honestly, there have been some things that have been pretty loopy in my career. Ultimately started Farrell Wealth, started a wealth management firm, got out of the trading business, sold my firm, and left the pits because the pits turned into electronics, and I sat behind a desk and wasn't going to do that the rest of my life. So started the wealth management firm back in 2010, and have been off and running ever since, helping clients and adding value. I've got a number of different things as far as my story and where I came from and what I do and what I've done and whatnot on our website, as well as LinkedIn and whatnot. Won't get into that today too much, but I do want to talk about just what I've been through as far as 1994, go all the way back to there. That was as a reminder, as far as volatility in the market and craziness, as far as crises and tragedies as well. 1994 started with the Clinton administration coming in and badgering pharma. I was trading the Merck pit at the time, which is Merck and Company. It's obviously rivaled with Eli Lilly and all the different pharmas that Pfizer and whatnot. And they were very much against big pharma. So pharma collapsed and went, Merck literally went from 90 to $18 a share. So that was quite a crisis, especially starting out my trading career. You go into a number of different things that follow after that. In 1997, you have the Asian financial crisis. I traded through the devaluation of the peso at the time as well. They had the Russian back in 1998. You had the Russian debt default that was so crazy where the market dropped 12%. During the Asian financial crisis, the market dropped 19%. And then you had a hawkish Fed and the tech bubble, which was 99. That was really a 49% from October, well, really, yeah, October 2000 to 2003. The market dropped 49%. So I traded the tech bubble and the tech bust. And then also was a trader in the pits during 9/11, which was obviously an epic, awful day. Um, and the accounting scandals then fell in July of 2002, all the way to 2008. You go into 2008, the financial crisis and the Great Recession was down over 56%. Then you go into the flash crash of May 10th, and that was in 2010, and the Euro debt crisis that went on. The market was down 18%. The U.S. debt downgrade, which is in October of 2011, that's 19%, down 19%. You have the China slowdown, which is in 2016, that was down 14%. Volmageddon, if you remember that, that was 2018. That was down another 10%. Then you had the hawkish Fed as well. That dropped things in 2018 down another 19%. And then of course we hit COVID. So traded through multiple different crises uh, and wars or certainly escalations. And then COVID, never traded through a pandemic. None of us had. So we had that down 33%. And then high inflation rates were in March 2022, where we dropped 25%. Oh, by the way, recently, just last year, you've got April of 2025 with tariffs. And now we have a full-blown war. So, wow, it's been a ride, and we are trading through a war as we speak, and that's really what I want to talk today about. What just how to maybe get a little perspective for sure of what's going on out there, what's been in the past. We've had these crises before, and building a portfolio that can withstand these things and having a long-term time horizon, but also being cognizant of the fact that things do return to normalcy. And I just want to be able to talk about, like, it's not necessarily, it's there at times it's bad. We're going to get volatility for sure, but we've already seen sort of a correction coming back, and it's not as bad as people certainly think. So with that being said, I kind of want to go into talking about the markets and exactly what is going on with Iran and how this is affecting our stock market and the world markets worldwide. So the show's Money Matters with Greg. I'm Greg Farrell, CEO and President of Fair Wealth. Again, we broadcast on 103.1 FM, WVLP, here locally at Thursday at 1 o'clock. So that'll be this week. And then this will be updated, obviously, for next week. But as you've seen in the news, the U.S. and Israel have launched military strikes against Iran, targeting its leadership, its military assets, and nuclear infrastructure across the board. Iran's supreme leader has been confirmed as dead, and Iran has retaliated with missile and drone strikes across the Middle East, basically, which I do believe they've made a very tactical mistake in regards to that, and the fact that they've attacked other Middle Eastern peaceful nations that were actually at the peace table or at the table to talk peace just recently. But those were launched, and you're going to see retaliations overall. We'll see about all that. I'm not going into the tactics of war and how this all looks as far as where we go from here. That's not my job. My job is to try to figure out for you guys how to make some money and also how to save some money in regards to your investments. President Trump has stated that the goal of the operation, which is dubbed Operation Epic Fury, is a regime change in Tehran, with strikes expected to continue for weeks, and a number of U.S. troop casualties have been reported as well. So the situation is evolving very, very rapidly, and that's why I wanted to make sure we had an updated podcast for this week to make sure you could to know that that the safety of the civilians in the region and our troops are key and our most important consideration for sure. Without taking away from the severity of the events, investors will naturally have questions, and that's why I wanted to be able to make sure we talk about it, about what this means for their portfolios, the markets, oil prices, you name it. So I'll go back to President Eisenhower before he was president, and with this quote, but he basically once said that plans are worthless, but planning is everything. So applied to today, this lesson is that specific geopolitical events are completely unpredictable. And that's why I kind of mentioned my past and how many of these things I've been through. It's one, it means you're old, but two, it means you've been through a lot of stuff that you can talk to and you can help educate a number of people to, just add some calm to your life here if you can. But the fact that they occur, uh, the fact that geopolitical events occur regularly is not predictable in any way. And the process of structuring a portfolio and making financial plans is designed precisely to deal with all this uncertainty. With each event, even though, well, with each event being very, very unique, financial markets really have navigated countless wars, crises, regional conflicts, and including the U.S. operation in Venezuela that ultimately was this earlier this year. Now, the key to every long-term investors is to separate geopolitical headlines from portfolio decisions. And what should investors keep in mind as in these events sort of unfold in the next few weeks? Watching the oil markets, knowing that, look, I will say this, you're going to want to fill up your tank of gas sooner rather than later because oil has rallied. For sure, it's gone from $60 a barrel to 80. That has been because of the war and the uncertainty. So yes, gasoline will be going up as we speak. So far, it's already risen, I think, 20 cents a gallon nationwide. That is something that personally is going to affect your pocketbook and they're going to affect your money and your dollars and cents today. So oil was going down. It was literally down near $50 a barrel, and now it's rallied to 80. So with that will go your gasoline prices. So just be careful of that as far as your budget. Now, while the scale of the strikes that happened were significant, tensions between the U.S., Israel, and Iran have always been escalating and certainly been escalating for some time. This latest development follows the month-long U.S. military buildup in the region that's been going and building up, to get ready the negotiations over the Iran's nuclear program that failed to produce an agreement, and President Trump pledged to support Iranian protesters who challenged the region earlier this year all go into this equation. And to really understand how we arrived at this moment, it kind of helps understand the broader timeline of events. So tensions between Iran and the West stretch back decades. I go back all the way to Jimmy Carter. Obviously, with the hostage situation that happened with the hostages that went on for over 2 years. You have longstanding regimes that support Hezbollah and Hamas, while those have been really the center of the conflicts of the Middle East recently. You can go all the way back to a number of presidents and their past. I won't go into all of that has happened in the history between the U.S. And Iran. But in 2019, Iran launched drone strikes against Saudi Arabia's oil infrastructure. And that disrupted the global oil production, and that raised fears of a wider regional war in 2019. Hamas, October 2023, attacked Israel and reignited the conflict in the region, eventually drawing in Hezbollah and escalating tensions with Iran. And then last summer, Israel conducted a 12-day military campaign against Iran, targeting nuclear and ballistic missiles in what was the most directed confrontation between the two countries in decades. Earlier this year, Iranian protesters um, challenged the regime with President Trump pledging U.S. support if possible. Um, and Negotiations. So then they went into negotiations about the nuclear program. That all failed to produce an agreement in recent weeks, and a significant U.S. buildup in the region has happened in the last 2 weeks, signaled this really broader operation for being planned, culminating in the current strikes that have happened. So the scope of these strikes, including the targeting of Iran's senior leadership, is broader than previous engagements for sure. This is obviously a complete regime change. And for investors, that's a really good thing. This is, well, first of all, I will say for those that are concerned about their portfolios today, I'll just go into the bottom line on this and cut to the chase. I'm going to talk about a couple more things in a minute, but the bottom line is the U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran represent an important geopolitical development for sure. However, history shows that investors really sort of maintain these diversified portfolios that they have, and they have long-term financial goals, really are best positioned to kind of navigate all these periods of uncertainty. But it is important to note that Iran plays a very minimal role in investment portfolios. Iran has been under heavy sanctions for years, and its economy has been experiencing hyperinflation. Its currency has collapsed. It's collapsed for years. So if you want to know why Bitcoin exists in this world and why someone might take a chance on Bitcoin, be an Iranian living in Iran, knowing that you're not going to get paid on something because inflation is at 2,000%. So might as well take a chance on getting paid in Bitcoin, right? So there are very few investors with direct exposure to the country and any asset allocations there for sure. Yeah, we're volatile. Yes, the market's moved. Oil's moved up. Yes, but does your portfolio really, is it affected that much by anything in Iran specifically? No, I mean, it really isn't. There are some other things that are ancillary for sure, and we can talk about that. And if you have any questions on that, please email me, greg@farrellwealth.com. I'd love to hear from you. One quick station identification. We're broadcasting on WVLP 103.1 FM here on Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, March 5th. And we're thankful to have a relationship with WVLP. Always really enjoy the WVLP family. I highly recommend you check out WVLP.org for all the different shows that are available. Some great shows on this station. You can also find that on the website and stream from anywhere worldwide and be a part of this and catch us there. You can catch me also on podcast. Apple, Spotify, you name it. Talking about oil, oil's already been rising in anticipation of these strikes. It kind of rallied from 60 all the way to 67. And then immediate reaction to the strikes has really been just a further jump to the low 70s for WTI and just over 80 for Brent crude. And while Western countries do not directly import oil from Iran, the fact that the market is global and oil is fungible means that any disruption to supply can raise prices. Um, this is also seeing issues with Asia because China imports a ton of oil from Iran, is also Venezuela. So you can kind of see the squeeze going on with China. We'll see what happens with that. Little perspective is needed as far as oil goes. Current prices remain well below the 2002 peak of nearly $128 per barrel when Russia invaded Ukraine. And today's environment is quite different. In 2018, the U.S. became the world's largest producer of oil and natural gas, with current domestic production exceeding other major producers such as Saudi Arabia and Russia. Now, while the U.S. still relies on U.S. and global energy markets, this level of production really helps us to insulate our domestic economy from supply disruptions. Um, that doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt. And you see what happens with oil going up. But with a favorable oil and energy policy currently in this country, we are quickly, we were a net exporter of oil under Trump in his first term, Trump 2.0. We're not there yet, but it's getting there. And LNG as well, is liquefied natural gas. We are a major producer in that, and we're working on getting that to be, one of our biggest exports as well. So it's just really worth remembering that oil price is hard to predict. And when Russia invaded Ukraine, many expected prices to just remain elevated forever. And that just didn't happen. Instead, prices stabilized. They declined far sooner than projected. And the U.S. operation in Venezuela this past January led to a brief move in oil prices, but it had little long-term effect. The overall market reacted initially with a pretty quiet, kind of a yawn type situation, ho hum. Very flat day the next day on that Monday after the strikes happened over the weekend. And then Tuesday we were down pretty big on over 2% on some indices early. Oil was down as much as, was up as much as 5%. And with Bitcoin and a number of other things were down. But today, as of Wednesday, the close of Wednesday here today, we had a nice rally, and it's looked like it has turned out pretty nice. Oil has come back in. Had a very volatile day. It was moving all over between 84 and 76 all throughout the day, and closed right around 80. And then the overall Nasdaq was up. All the different indices were up, as well as all the currencies, Bitcoin and Ethereum, you name it, were all up 8 to 10% in places. So markets figuring it out is really the most important thing. And you really just need to back to the bottom line. Just know that uh, we don't we don't we don't have a lot of exposure. We have no exposure to Iran, and never really intend to. Now, as things change, and now with a new regime, there might be opportunity for investors to be able to find things, but that's a ways off for sure. And who knows what's going to happen after all this finalizes. For now, it looks like there is a regime change, and it will happen sometime because Supreme Leader's dead, and then most of the leadership around him is dead as well. So we'll see what happens in Iran. That's above my pay grade. We'll see what happens overall. But just to kind of represent this whole geopolitical development that happened, I wanted to talk about, history really shows that those who maintain a diversified portfolio in multiple different asset classes, for the for your long-term financial goals, you're going to be best positioned to really navigate all these periods of uncertainty. So I hope that helps. That was my mission here today, was try to bring some clarity for you as what's the past, going all the way back to 1994, which I can't believe it's been that long. And then bringing you up to date today with the war as we speak, and the markets as we speak today here in 2026. So again, the show's Money Matters with Greg. I'm Greg Farrell, CEO and President of Farrell Wealth. It's a wealth management firm in Valparaiso, Indiana, where we have the Midwestern charm of a wonderful little town that we call home. And we manage money for clients in 24 states. We have an office in Tampa, Florida as well. So if you need anything or have anything you want to reach out, please, Greg at farrellwealth.com. Love to hear from you. You can also DM me on any sort of social media. We're LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Would love to have a follow as well if you want to follow us anytime for all this stuff that we're doing on the marketing side of things and the social media things. Would love to have a follow and a like. You can also follow us on our YouTube channel as well. So I hope that was a help. I hope I updated everybody well enough to be able to get moving from any paralysis that you might have and look for opportunities, because we've had some opportunities for sure that I would highly recommend to sharpen your pencils and get after it. And if you've got any questions, email me, Greg at farrellwealth.com. And I hope you have a wonderful week and happy spring. And here we go, March Madness. So very excited to have some basketball in our lives and some sport back in our lives as well. So thanks again, and look forward to talking to everybody next week. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Money Matters with Greg. We hope you gained some valuable insights today. Remember, your financial journey is personal, but you don't have to go it alone. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe and share. Until next time, here's to making your money work for you. Securities and investment advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.